The truth is, most diets work, but they only work short term. And much of the time, you end up not having a good healthy relationship with food afterwards.
Everywhere I look, I see killer Krabby Patties.
And oftentimes even worse than before. And also much of the time, you actually end up walking away even unhealthier than before you started. And even if you do lose the weight, a lot of times, your overall health isn't actually in a better place.
Oh my God. Kramer? Look at you. I told you.
And this is of course a big problem. So don't worry, I'm going to try my best to help you guys through this. And just to be clear, if you're saying to yourself, what are your qualifications? What gives you the right to be speaking on this? So while I don't like to do this because I do have so many issues when it comes to the whole school system, and also because the vast majority of my knowledge is coming from independent research as well as loads and loads of personal experience, for those of you who do want to hear my qualifications, for those of you who do need them, I do have a degree in nutrition and dietetics, but even more importantly to me, I have done tons and tons of research into ancestral-based eating, Weston A. Price principles. I've also been guided by top naturopaths, and I've been healing from a life-threatening illness for the past several years, and I made so much progress all the doctors were telling me was impossible. But as I've understood the powers of holistic health and holistic healing, as well as all my continued research and trial and error, I've gotten myself to a much better place, and I'm super close to being fully healed, I believe. So anyways, a huge part of health, well not everything because there are so many aspects of health, and I will be touching on many of these in this episode, but my purpose today is to help you guys through all the pitfalls that await so many of these yo-yo dieters,
Yo-yo-ma.
or anyone who's struggling in any way with finding what works best for them. Because I want you guys thriving and vibrant, and just to be clear, my purpose in doing this is never to shame anyone, or to diminish the challenges that so many others go through. I get how hard it is for some people to eat healthy, and for people to live healthy lifestyles, especially because of so many years of ingrained bad habits. But it can be done. Anything is possible when it's given enough time, effort, and belief to go along with the right knowledge. Also, peep the nice tan/color I have for my most recent island trip to Bermuda with the family. Check it out. Anyways, let's dive deeper now.
Give me a...
What's happening, guys? Welcome back to the Jared and James channel. I'm Jared Weiss. If you guys didn't know that, must mean now subscribe to the channel so you know what to do. Hit that subscribe button, be sure to leave a like, drop a comment, let me know your thoughts on this video. Follow me on every platform, and if you guys haven't done so already, make sure to check out my book, Fight Through by Jared Weiss. All the links purchased on my website, which is jaredbryanweiss.com. That's JAREDRYANWEASS.com. Buy the book, support me. Also, make sure to check out all the awesome shirts I have on there, all designed by me, all 100% organic cotton. All of them have their own really cool motivational words/sayings. The shirt I'm currently wearing right now is actually not one of mine, but this shirt also happens to be very funny. I actually got it on vacation a few months ago, I think, but it says I flexed and the sleeves fell off. But check out all my shirts, check out everything on my website. Any support at all is very much appreciated. So, the first reason why most diets don't work is because they're so focused on denying you of foods. I see people all the time who are like, oh, I can't eat this, I can't eat fruit, or I can't have this vegetable because too many carbs, or too many of this, or for whatever reason, the diet that I'm following isn't allowing me to have this. So rather than having a long list of foods that are good for you and that are good for you to have more of, these diets are overly concerned with restriction, even on high quality natural foods that have been eaten for thousands of years. So let me explain deeper. As long as your digestion is healthy enough to handle the foods, and as long as the food is natural and unprocessed,
I only eat cage-free farm fresh.
then truthfully, there's no reason to be avoiding these foods like the plague unless you genuinely don't like them, or if they don't give you the energy that you want. Because, to be clear, everything should be customized to you. But avoiding entire food groups, especially when it's a food that's been eaten for thousands of years once again, if doing so works for you, great, but you might be making eating overly complicated when eating healthy should and can be very simple. Stick to simple principles, keep it simple. The less ingredients, the less processing, the better. But you shouldn't be walking around hungry and starving, because think about it. If you're walking around feeling deprived and malnourished and hungry all the time, how could you ever possibly keep that up long term? And if you are having cravings all the time, chances are you actually have nutrient deficiencies. And this is why when people ask me how I do it, as far as only eating healthy foods and never eating food that I consider bad for me, and no, I'm not saying that everyone has to be this way, not everyone has to be this extreme or this strict, but it's become a lifestyle for me, and I genuinely enjoy living like this. And I don't really get tempted to cheat. Of course, it started off a lot as willpower, but once I figured out how to eat like a normal, natural human, I realized I don't have to be depriving myself, and the vast majority of the time I actually feel way more satisfied compared to the person who's eating tons of processed foods. If I'm eating high quality organic grass-fed meats, eggs, organic sourdough bread, some healthy homemade or Miller's Farm made treats, a lot of raw kefir, raw milk ice cream, a ton of coconut water of course, and a lot of fruit and vegetables too, I'm not walking around hungry or deprived, and I actually feel satisfied because I'm not overeating these processed foods, so I'm actually getting all the nutrition that my body needs. Now another reason why most diets don't work long term is because they become too tribal, where it's like, if you eat this, you can't be part of our group.
You can't sit with us!
It's like, whether it's vegan or carnivore, if those work for you, great, but they're not for everyone, and in my opinion, based on what I know, so often they're going to leave most people malnourished, and hey, you're totally free to disagree with me on that. I'm not saying you can't make a diet work for you, because every diet out there basically has some truth to it, but once again, eating should not be this miserable experience. It shouldn't be, oh, I'm a carnivore, and I'm identifying solely with that group, so if I have that piece of broccoli over there, my group isn't going to accept me, so I can't be doing that.
No, and you wouldn't eat broccoli if it was deep fried in chocolate sauce.
I love broccoli. Vile weed!
And to be honest, I am actually someone who does tend to go to the extremes with a lot of things. I do tend to have an obsessive mindset, and this of course isn't always a bad thing, but then oftentimes after going in something extreme, I'll then try to find balance in the middle ground after learning a whole lot more. That's just how my mind works, so I get it. I get why people love to take things to the extremes. I get why people love to be outside the box because I'm the same way, and you think you're doing something special, and of course, with a lot of things, this actually is the case. But when it comes to eating going too extreme, and avoiding whole foods, or only eating one food, will most likely leave you with gut health challenges and severe lack of nutrition. But you may feel and trust me, I know this from my own experience, with trying some of these extreme restrictive diets, oh well, if it's working for all these people, then how come it's not working for me? I must be the one who's doing something wrong. But when your body talks to you, you have to listen. We're all unique and we all have our own unique nutrition needs, so to try to eat the same way, or to claim that everyone needs to eat the same way, and to eat the same exact food, same exact diet, same everything, is crazy. We can all have similar eating principles such as focusing on whole foods, avoiding processed foods, eating organic, etc. Those are all great and those are all things I believe in, but within there does need to be some nuance. Next reason why so many diets won't work is that you start to make it too much work. Now of course, taking care of yourself will take extra time. Cooking for yourself, ordering or buying healthy groceries will of course take more time as opposed to just getting takeout, but most of the time, keep it simple. Not every meal has to be super elaborate, and one that's going to be hard to replicate. If you're someone who enjoys cooking and trying out new recipes, that's of course amazing. And having variety within the whole foods is going to be great for improving your gut microbiome and getting a wide variety of nutrients. But me, most of the time, I actually make the same thing basically every day with some changes here and there, such as maybe I'll change up the vegetables, or the type of meat or chicken, or sometimes maybe I'll just have bone broth for dinner, or just a smoothie, or just have some fruit. But I do love what I eat. And it's getting back to how tribal these diets can get, and why this makes things harder than it needs to be. How many carnivores or vegans out there will subtly add back in other foods while calling it a different name? Such as Paul Saladino, super smart guy, don't get me wrong. He does say a lot of really good things, but just a few years ago he would have called you dumb for adding anything to your diet that's not meat.
What an idiot!
Then it becomes animal based. And ultimately, what so many people realize is how a balanced, or at the very least a somewhat balanced diet, depending on your own preferences and your own needs, whatever food makes you feel the best, within those general healthy principles, is going to be so often what works best for the vast majority of us. Prepare most of your foods at home, or have someone cook for you, but find what you like, find what's natural and organic, and what you can stick to long term, versus trying to find what foods you're allowed to eat out every day, or at this restaurant or that one. And this leads me into my next issue when it comes to most diets, which is trying to find what you can eat out and get away with it. Once again, this doesn't have to be a miserable experience. You're not in prison, you're just trying to find a good healthy diet. With the whole modern diets and modern eating styles, we've been so convinced that eating natural, organic, whole foods makes you weird when it actually should be seen as natural.
Ah, you're crazy.
It's oh, I see, you're a healthy person, or you're a granola person, or whatever the word is. But when you feel restricted, what's the natural response? To push back. What you resist is always going to persist. If you're overly restricted and have tons of cravings because you're malnourished, it's not going to last. So eating out all the time isn't going to satisfy those needs. And I'm going to segue at this point into you want fast results as opposed to long-lasting results. Think about it like this. You're going to have to eat for the rest of your life. So it's not like you're training for a race or for a marathon, or for a specific event, so it's not as important how in shape you could get by this date if you can't keep it and sustain it for a healthy life. In the case of eating and getting healthy, it's not the fastest person who wins, it's the most consistent and who can keep it up. And this is why plenty of diets work as far as you can lose a ton of water weight fast. But as I keep hammering home, the question is which diet is going to be about long-term health. Keeping you nourished, you're not feeling hungry or low energy all the time, and you actually feel good and happy about eating. Don't worry about all the people who tell you how they lost 50 pounds in 2 weeks, because how many of those people are going to keep it off in a healthy way? Very few, I'd say. On the flip side, it's a person who found a way of eating that like they enjoy, they know which foods make them feel good and which ones don't, they aren't worried about upsetting the tribe, and they see it as a long-term solution. This person won't just be at a healthy weight, but they're actually going to be overall healthy as a person, which is what this whole thing should be about. It's not just a number on the scale, it's about how you feel. There are plenty of people out there who are at a healthy weight who aren't actually healthy people. Now the final reason I'm going to get into as to why most diets only work short term is because you're only focusing on how you look, but not how you feel. You're acting like eating as a bodybuilder, which if that's your goal, great. But preparing for a show is one thing, eating once again is for life.
Yeah, buns and ties.
And this brings me to, so many people forget to address the little things, which are actually going to turn into the big things. Diet and health overall, as I'm always saying, is not just food. It's lowering stress levels, meditation, having good healthy friendships and relationships, having self-love, avoiding or eliminating exposure to toxins, and addressing the body's ability or inability to perform lymphatic drainage and to detox effectively. Going outside, getting enough sun exposure and exposure to nature. All these things can and do affect how you look, whether or not your body is holding on to fat, and how your body is performing metabolically. How you handle stress, of course, will determine how you eat when you get hit with a challenging situation. Going for walks and constant movement is going to keep your body's metabolism going, and it's going to keep your body and mind right and healthy. So the little things aren't so little, and will play just as much a role in how you look and how you feel, and whether or not you're able to maintain a healthy weight. Those things will matter just as much as your food diet. Anyways, I really hope this video helps you out. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Make sure to take control of your health, take control of all your inputs as best you can. Healthy minds, healthy body, and vice versa. Anyways, I love you guys. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. Be sure to drop a like, leave a comment, let me know your thoughts. I will catch you guys next time. Stay positive, stay healthy, get healthy, get right. Great things take time. Have patience with yourself. Peace.